Hello everyone! This is Running on Empty Food Review. Well, hello ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of the Running on Empty Food Review series. I am your host, the Report of the Week. Thanks for checking in, being here, present, and accounted for today's newest review. It's back! Pizza Hut has once again brought it back, the Detroit-style pizza. Now, I've reviewed this item before. Let's just get right into things. Let's get down to basics here, because I know that introduction right then and there, I mean, that was already, that you might be sitting there, you might be saying, too much. Too much. Is it enough, though? Is there ever such a thing as too much when it comes down to Pizza Hut? Probably. But we're going to pretend that there isn't. You know, we're all about excess this time around. And Detroit-style pizza has a lot. Oh, I know, that's really tying it all together right there. Yeah, Pizza Hut, they originally had their Detroit-style pizza in early 2021. And when they released it then, it was a big hit. A lot of people really liked it. It got a lot of praise. I tried it out then, and I really enjoyed it. Then a little later in 2021, they brought it back, which again, it had generally positive reactions, and then it was gone for about a year. It has once again returned, and what I always like doing when these items, especially the ones that, you know, are really hyped up, that have almost a legacy of sorts, when people have these sorts of items and they're very highly regarded and then they come back, we obviously know that things can change with time. Sometimes things, of course, can become better. A lot of the time, you know how it is, they get worse. I always like to re-examine some of these items that make a return to the menu. I try to see, are they maintaining the standards? Because, yeah, it was just a year ago, but we do know things can change in a year's span of time, I'm just trying to say. I think you know what I mean. So, what I want to do today is I want to assess the pizza, see how good it is, see if it's still as good as I remember it, because when I tried this out, admittedly, I was a fan of the Detroit-style pizza, so we'll see how it is. All right, the Pizza Hut Detroit-style pizza, here's what it is. It is a deep dish pizza, and you can get it with a variety of toppings, but the most popular flavor, or a topping combination, I should say, for the Detroit-style pizza is pepperoni. So a lot of the time people get it with classic pepperoni, and then in addition to the classic pepperoni is crispy cupped pepperoni. It's covered with cheese to the crust, and then on top of the cheese is the premium tomato sauce. So the big thing is that it's a square cut, deep dish pizza, extra pepperoni, it has the cheese, the sauce goes on top of everything. So there's no sauce underneath the cheese or any of that, but you have this bold premium tomato sauce that is then drizzled on top of everything. And again, it's square cut. Price for this was $14. So $14 is the price, which it does seem a little more expensive, but this is just how it is. What you're going to see in a moment, when I open this box and when I show you what I got today, you're probably going to ask yourself the question, what happened? And that's a perfectly legitimate question to ask. When I do these reviews, I just want to preface, when I do these reviews, I, to the best of my ability, try to review not only just what I get, you know, whatever is given to me. I don't like going out and trying to get, I want it made just for me. I want to get the exact same thing that you would get. And likewise, though, I want to just show, all right, this is my experience. This is how it came to me. I just want to try to portray, to the best of my ability anyway, hopefully an accurate picture of the fast food experience. So I ordered this pizza, and generally you'll get it in a special box. It's a rectangular box, and it'll have special branding and everything. Obviously you could see this came in a regular pizza box. That wasn't the only thing, though. So after I ordered the pizza, I got a little distracted, admittedly. I started setting everything up for the video. When I checked my phone, I saw that there were like 5 missed calls from Pizza Hut. So I thought to myself, that's not good. It's usually when the place starts reaching out to you like this, you know that something happened. That I thought, all right, they're probably out of this or they're out of that, or something happened. So I was eventually able to touch base with them, and I found out that they said this is what they told me. The the mold or something that they use for the rectangular shape of the pizza, they somehow were out of it or something to that extent. So they said that the only way that they could make this pizza for me was if they put it in a large pizza mold or something like that. So I thought, I mean, all right, if you're saying that you're just going to give me more pizza at the same price because you can't get it in its original form, I mean, heck, I'll take it. I might not have the world's biggest appetite, but I mean, what the heck? It's if they're kind of upgrading the size a little bit, then I can't really complain there. So when you look at this, essentially what I found out when I got the pizza, they pretty much gave me like the size of two pizzas for one. So most of the time, yours is going to be about half the size of this. Like I said, I didn't even want this much food, but this was, I guess, the only way that they could really make it. I thought that this was decent customer service, though. Really, the portion size here has no bearing whatsoever on this review. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. This is just my circumstance. So when you see all this pizza, I just don't want you to think that this is how much you would be getting in an average situation. This is merely my special circumstance based on how it was on my end. But by and large, expect yours to be about half the size of this. All right. But customer service wise, I mean, it was nice to see. A lot of the time, if there's a problem, you expect they'll probably give you less, not more at this point. So that's just something. And here's what I mean. It's like, all right, normally it's still square cut and it's the same base and everything, but normally it's supposed to be rectangular, not circular. And they gave me about double the amount. So normally you would have about half of this, and that would constitute one pizza. So this would really be like $28 worth of Detroit-style pizza right here. But in the end, I decided to go ahead with this review anyway, because the components are exactly the same. It's the same dough, same base, same toppings, same thickness, same crust. I just cut slightly differently, but everything is the same otherwise. It looks different from what you would get, and I just hope to explain that. So yours would be about half the size of this. And since everything is pretty much the same in that regard, I thought, all right, then I think the review would still be legitimate. So now I want to grab a slice, and I'm just thinking where's a good slice to get. I guess this slice should be all right here. Like I said, all the components are exactly the same, so that's why, in terms of accuracy, I don't think this would be much of a problem. All right, so there you have a cross-section of it. You can see it is thicker, the cheese piled on, with the sauce and the pepperoni right there. And really, I just want to try this out, let you know what it tastes like, let you know if it's still any good, and if they're maintaining the standards, or if it's gone downhill, or what it might be, and go from there. So, you know what's on it, I know what's on it, we all know what's on it. Now let's find out if it's any good. The Detroit-style pizza from Pizza Hut, 2022 edition, it's going in. I figured I'd just leave the eating segment in this time around. What do you call a pizza that's late for work? You call it a pizza. Well, I know I'm going all out with the jokes today. So in the end, I'd say that Pizza Hut is still maintaining the standards here when it comes down to the Detroit-style pizza. Like I said, when it comes down to the one that I got, obviously in terms of at least the way that it's cut and the way that it's molded, there were some of those divergences and differences than what I normally get, but all the components are exactly the same. So that's why, again, I felt comfortable still reviewing this, even when it's like if I decide to get this again, next time I get this from Pizza Hut, it's going to be totally different from this. So, you just understand that going in. But everything that I took note of here is really about the same that I remember it. There's one minor difference. So, this is obviously a very thick pizza. It's very doughy, very greasy, very oily. It's very heavy on the toppings. You can see that the base of the pizza, it has that thickness to it. It's chewy, it's doughy, very, very soft. There's not much of a bake on it aside from just what you would see on the crust. But aside from that, very soft. All the cheese, again, is piled on. Very flavorful, I'll add. And again, you get all that greasiness and the oiliness from the cheese, from the base, and then from the two kinds of pepperoni that you see on it. Likewise, the smaller cupped pepperoni does have a nice crisp to it. And it has what I would describe as being a little bit of a spicy flair to it as well. So it's got a lot of flavor there. The thing about this that I always like, that I always am a fan of, is the way that the sauce on the pizza is. That they seem to have just the right amount of the sauce, and given the very robust nature of the sauce, given how rich in flavor it is, and like I said, robust is the best way to describe the tomato sauce, it really negates what you might consider to otherwise be that excess oiliness and greasiness of the pizza. So it moderates everything out, and it provides that perfect balance. There's just the right amount of sauce on it, it's very flavorful, and it just works. That's what ties it all together. And the only thing that I notice slightly different quality-wise when it comes down to how things are with this pizza compared to the previous incarnations of the Detroit-style pizza that I've had, while the sauce in this instance is still very flavorful, and definitely what I would consider to be like the fundamental, this is what everything is about here, that sauce. This is what makes it special and good. In previous reviews, I've noticed that the sauce seemed a little thicker. This is still, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty thick tomato sauce, but what I just happened to notice is that it just seemed a little, not even terribly, but just a little on the runnier side as I was eating it, and what I noticed. Just the sauce did not seem as thick. Compared to most tomato sauces, it's still a thicker sauce, don't get me wrong, but I believe when I had this back in 2021, the sauce just seemed to be there was just a little bit more to it. A little bit more to it in terms of its consistency, and even with that, it was a little more flavorful. The sauce is still good. it's just not as good as what it was. And given that the sauce is a very important ingredient here for the Detroit-style pizza, that's an important characteristic to note, and that's a major change that I note as well. So, in short, the sauce is still very flavorful, very robust, balances everything out, ties everything together, and it really makes this what it is. But was it a tiny bit better the last time? I'd say so. It's still pretty good, it's still flavorful, but it's just not that experience when I had it back in 2021 and I was like blown away. I thought, wow, this is really good, you know. I'm just gonna feast on this thing. This is insanely delicious. I remember being blown away by it back then. This is like, yeah, it's pretty good, right? And there's that difference. Both of them are good, but in this case, it's just like, I don't know if I'm blown away by it. So just note that difference in the sauce. It looks like the quality of that just went down a hill slightly. Nothing changed that'll make this, you know, a bad item or anything, but this is just something to be aware of, because it is a change. Price-wise, $14 for what would be half of this. Like I said, they gave me double because of that issue. You would get half of this for $14, which you might say, yeah, the volume of the pizza, you know, they might say it's a fair value. I think it's slightly overpriced, especially when you consider the difference between this and what you could get from a like a deep dish pizza at Little Caesars. Just something to be aware of. So maybe slightly overpriced, and slight decrease in the quality of the sauce. Still good overall. I'm still going to give this a positive score. It's just maybe not the thing that, you know, knocked my socks off, essentially, back in 2021. So still good, just not as good. Therefore, out of 10, I'm going to be rating today the Detroit-style pizza from Pizza Hut. I'm going to be giving this a 7 out of 10. Everything's still fresh, it's still quality, still tastes good, sauce is still good, base is good, just not as good, but still decent. So if you like the Detroit-style pizza, go ahead, try it out, see what it's all about, and really I just wanted to let you know if they're maintaining the standards or not. That's all that I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'm your host, The Report of the Week.